the conflation of trafficking and prostitution, it seems to give prostitution this air of danger. Mm-hmm. It's really convenient for the media to give prostitution the air of danger that trafficking has as well. Mm-hmm. Because wouldn't it be horrifying to the American public if prostitution wasn't so scary, if it wasn't so dangerous?
Sex workers would be allies with the police in finding and stopping incidences of trafficking, because sex workers know better than anyone that no one should be forced to have sex with somebody else and that they don't want to have sex with.
That is a huge undercurrent within the feminist community about trafficking, that there's so much concern and talk about trafficking when really there is just a disrespect of the possibility of sex work being a positive. And in fact, there are many, many more people who are consensual sex workers in this country than people who are trafficked, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the thing is that trafficking is horrific, and I don't want to minimize it, but it's been very blown out of proportion in the media. Like, sure. Sex trafficking is really, it really actually hardly ever happens. I mean, it happens, and it's horrible when it happens, and it has to be stopped and rooted out and dealt with. But trafficking is really a labor issue. Like, here we're obsessed with sex slavery and sex trafficking. But the sex trafficking is a very tiny, tiny percentage of trafficking. Like, there are people being trafficked to do, domestic service and other kinds of labor, all over the world. That is a really serious issue. Trafficking is a serious issue. It's a labor issue.
Trafficking is a form of slavery. And
right, that's the other thing, is that people who have been trafficked are not prostitutes. Like, they're not a subset of prostitutes. People who are being trafficked are not being paid. They're being kidnapped.
Right, they are
and
slaves.
Forced to do something. They're being raped. They're not being paid. The people who have been trafficked for sex are not prostitutes. These are two completely different sets of people. Prostitutes, whether out of desperation or not, in good circumstances or not, they make an agreement with somebody to give some service for something in exchange, and they do it willingly, even if it's in, under bad circumstances. Victims of trafficking have been kidnapped, forced to do something, and they're not getting paid. I mean, these are two different groups of people. And they, especially since Bush, because Bush got on some big anti-trafficking thing, and so it's been in the media more and more the last 10 years, this sex trafficking thing, and it gets very conflated. You'll see in an article where the person writing the article will interchange prostitutes and victims of trafficking, like interchange them as if they're the same thing all the way through the article.
Absolutely, and I think it feeds this conflation in the American mind between the two. Mm-hmm. That you have this idea that in every city there's sort of a house of sex slaves, and that this is where prostitution happens.